This next guy we're bringing
There's one, a unit.
College football machine. Some even don't believe he's a human being. And I'm just throwing that out there. Our buddy Josh Pate Show. Josh, what's up, dude?
The way I know that's not scripted is I swerved you guys with the time I'm coming on the show. So there's no way that was prompted. There's no way you have that written on ad copy in your hand. So in the spirit of Valentine's Day, one Jacob Crain had that come right from here.
Yeah,
from the prompter God gave us.
I'm the Ryan Stiles of college football shows. That's what I am. I'm excited to hear whose line is that anyway. But Josh, you're down there at the Broyles Award, which I'm a voter as well. You look at some of the guys who have won the award in the past. It absolutely skyrockets your career. I'm not going to ask who you voted for. I'm going to say who I voted for after they announced the winner. It's an incredible event. Shout out to our buddy Clayton Harrell. But are there a couple guys that you're looking at that you think are probably the favorites to win this thing down there? Is there a couple that just kind of come to the top of your mind?
I think you got to expect there's a lot of juice with Marcus Arroyo at Arizona State. I mean, they made the run that no one expected them to make this year. Now, I think in years to come, we may come to find that there's an assistant coach that the Big 12 shoots out at us every year because the Big 12 is so randomized that we may just see this duplicated over and over again. But this is sort of at the dawn of the new playoff era, so we don't know what normal is yet. So I'd say Arroyo. I think also when you look at what Tim Banks did at Tennessee, and you look at the fact that at various points this year, they were more identifiable with their defensive style and performance than they were offense. There were multiple times, as you guys know this year, where they were shut out in first halves and still won games. They were a playoff team. People kind of wipe that from their memory because of the way the playoff game went. But I would say Arroyo, Banks. I mean, Pete Kwiatkowski had a great year at Texas, but I still think it's people thinking about offense there. So I would go Arroyo and Banks as the two that I would say. There's actually a horse racing track out my window coming around the final turn. I would say those are the two I like.
Yeah, and, it's a great combination. Marcus is a great combination of, like, the underdog that everybody loves that came out of nowhere, plus being an offensive guy. You blend those two things together, that's going to be tough to beat, and they're going to be live streaming it, so make sure you check out to see who wins that. But, Josh, I want to ask you about a topic that, speaking of a horse, you're going to beat it to death. We're going to beat it to death here. Not that I condone beating horses to death. My wife would kill me. Not anymore.
You and our producer.
Listen, I got to stop watching Yellowstone. But Josh, when you look at Arch Manning in Texas, I said something the other day, and it's going to be impossible for him to live up to the hype. I don't think Arch Manning in Texas wins the SEC while he is at Texas. That doesn't mean they can't win a national championship. That doesn't mean they can't, get into the playoff and make a run. Do you think Arch Manning can possibly live up to the hype or get close to the hype? Because he's the most hype guy going into the next level since LeBron James to me.
No, probably not. But that doesn't mean he can't be a really solid player. A lot of the hype, as you guys know, is just written in fantasy land.
For sure.
It's almost like college fantasy football is not a massive thing like it is in the NFL, but it's almost like the hype bubble is fantasy driven. It's independent of your contribution to a team's winning a championship. It's like, who cares if you go 9-3, but are you going to put up big numbers? It's kind of the ring culture society, which ironically leads you further and further away from a ring. No, I don't think he'll meet the hype. Now, if we were to we just like to cut the fringes off, the haters are gone, the hype people are gone, and hopefully all of us are still in the room of the reasonably minded. Again, this is a pro horse show, so hopefully along with the pro horse, we're pro logic. I would say if you expect the offensive efficiency numbers to uptick a little bit with him there, that's reasonable. And I think they can do that. I also think if you look at Arch, you can't look at that in the absence of them having to backfill their top three receivers again. You got a number of offensive linemen gone. Like there's more. It's more than just the Manning kid, man. Let's watch spring ball. He's taken over. It's his time now. It's not tennis. It's not golf. It's not an individual thing. So I think he can be a really good player there. I don't go into it with the expectation that, this Heisman odds board that I'm looking at right now that has him number 2 is accurate. Insane. I don't have that as my expectation. So I don't think I'm setting myself up for disappointment quite as much as maybe the rest of the country does. And you know what? If he meets their expectation, I'll just happily be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, to quote Carl Ravage, I'll take the L. And to be honest with you, I think he could be better than Quinn Ewers and still not live up to that hype.
True.
Yeah.
Josh Pate, welcome into the fact or fiction zone. I've got 4 statements. You've got 30 seconds on each one to tell me why it's a fact or why it's fiction. First one up here. Storming the field should result in game forfeiture is a statement that should, in and of itself, disqualify you from working in college athletics. Fact or fiction?
I can't be firing Greg Byrne. I can't be firing athletic directors in the SEC. You know I can't do that. But
Yeah.
I don't like the statement. It is going to get harsh rebuttal from my office if I'm ever the commissioner. I'll say that much.
Next one up here, speaking about Alabama. Alabama bringing in Ryan Grubb as offensive coordinator will not lead to a college football playoff berth for the Tide in 2025. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. I have them as a fringe contender in 2025. I think it's a net. Oh man, this is tough, Cone, because that just as much as we talked about Arch Manning not existing in isolation, I have no clue who their quarterback is either.
Yeah.
This is hard to do in 30 seconds. That's what she said, maybe, but it's hard to do in 30 seconds.
That is what she said, but you're doing a great job.
I'm going fringe fiction. Has anyone ever done fringe fiction?
No.
Look, I did a soft. We do a punt or ghost segment, and I faked a punt the other day. So
God, I got guys that are faking punts and fringe.
Do whatever you want.
At least you made it to 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. 31. How about that?
Next one up here. This one's near and dear to my heart, Josh. Don't get it wrong. The Michigan-Ohio rivalry is just too toxic for college football. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. 1,000 times fiction. We're on the 8th floor of this casino and hotel and resort. I'd love to throw anyone who said it out the window.
Yes.
I would argue toxicity is a misplaced phrase. Toxicity is me beating you to death in the parking lot because you're wearing a Michigan jersey. Toxicity is not me as an Ohio State fan hoping that you have a miserable December because your team lost. That's healthy. And I also say for these people out here who don't have sports, those are the ones most at risk because they don't have any mechanism through which to release that toxicity that's built up. And those are the ones who go do things that end up on the nightly news. No, it is not toxic fiction.
Well, that's how I think World War II started, to be honest with you, if we're going to get deep into it. But this is like the toxic masculinity argument in society, but in the college football realm.
Built up release in 30 seconds, man. Sometimes I could.
We're on fire.
I could just kiss you on that head.
By the way, this is brought to you by Romans.
Last one up here, and this is straight from X. This is what all the Josh Pate fans really wanted to know. Josh Pate's 1-rep max bench press is over 300 pounds. Fact or fiction?
I would probably give you 5 reps at 300 pounds. Who are you even talking to, Colin?
Wow.
What is the matter with you?
Wow. Hit me with the number
again?
then. 1-rep max bench. Josh Pate, what are we hitting these days, brother?
I'd be confident in the 330 to 350 range.
That's nice.
But I have not maxed in a long time. But let me say this.
That's nice,
Who in the world even tries to bench 300? It's an odd number of plates to even put on the bar. No one does 300.
Yeah.
What happened in the Michigan weight room? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
How did we get to that number?
Me benching 300 is not something that happened in the Michigan weight room. I was squatting 300, though. Come at me.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Hey, 300 is a lot for a 6'7".
When someone says the word squat, I just get a little...
If you say squat or gassers, I immediately want to... It's like EPCAC. I immediately want to puke. But another win for the people is having amazing coffee. Because I know you guys drink a lot of it out there. And for you younger ones, you're going to drink it when you get older if you don't do it now. So you might as well drink the best. And that's where Black Rifle Coffee comes in. Because not only do they have a versatility and variety and huge selection of dark roast, light roast, and everything in between, they even have a coffee quiz on their website, David. Now look, I never was great on quizzes, hated tests, midterms, kill me. But if it's a coffee quiz...
I'll get 100 on that.
Yeah, I'll get 100 on that every time because it pairs you with a blend perfectly tailored to your specific taste. And a portion of every purchase you make with Black Rifle Coffee goes towards supporting veteran and first responder causes, which means your money goes a long way toward giving back to those who serve our nation. And again, they've got some great blends and the names are pretty cool too. So head to blackriflecoffee.com now. Use code DailyWire, that's all one word, for 20% off America's coffee. That's blackriflecoffee.com. Use code DailyWire and go take that coffee quiz if you're a little bit unsure on where you land. They say it's the wine of morning drinks. BlackRifleCoffee.com.
All right, the next one we got going here is called If You Were the Commiss. Trust me, every second tweet I see from you, it's you wanting to be the commissioner of college football. Pretty sure that's what Jake said. That's how Stalin.
Well, yeah, no, listen, I respect it. That sometimes you got to take power. That's why I respect it.
All right, this is your chance, Josh. Show the world what it would be like with you as the college football commissioner. We're going to start with this. The 12-team playoff debuting this season, how long before it expands again? Would you advocate for 16 teams, or is there a risk of devaluing the regular season?
Look, I'd love to go to 8 teams, but if you don't let me go backwards, I don't. If we expand to 14, I think I have been sold on. Now, mind you, Blaine, this is if we have to expand, if we have to stay in the current format. I've actually been sold on the idea of predetermining the number of seats at the table per conference, which I hated a year ago. I hated it because I think it's stupid, but I already think the format's stupid. So if you're going to take me further into those waters, what I want to do is I want to maximize the focus on the conference races. So like if I know the Big Ten's got 4 and the SEC's got 4 and the ACC's got 3 and their conference races are going to determine who gets those seeds, I'd actually in the aggregate be more happy with that. So that's unpopular, I know, because I even hate it. But as it relates to now and moving forward, I think it'd be best for all parties if we totally trashed the format and overhauled conceptually the format as we expanded.
Yeah, I 100%. The structure's got to change. We've talked about that a million times.
All right, Commissioner Pate, your second one is the SEC and Big Ten's financial dominance ruining competitive balance. And what would you do as commissioner to prevent a full Power 2 takeover?
I would, well, yes, the answer is yes, it has. Are we entering a world where legally the commissioner just gets to do whatever he wants to? Like, can I dictate or do
give it a try?
Give it a try. Hey, listen, you can be Kim Jong-Pate.
Oh, absolutely. I've waited for someone to say this to me for so long.
Until you do something we don't like.
Yes. Congrats on talking to Dolphins.
Yeah, all of you are exempt. You get to do whatever you want to. So you got the pardon, first off.
Thank you. Good.
I would, hey, if I can do whatever I want to, I'd love to shrink these conferences down to no more than 10 teams apiece. Yeah. I'd love for it to be that size because everyone can play everyone in conference play. It's totally insane to look at Florida's schedule and Missouri's schedule right now and know they play in the same conference. Also, I was talking to a GM the other day who is of one of those major programs, and they feel terrible when they go gut someone's roster, but like they got to do it. He said, you know what someone should push for? And I was listening, all ears. He said, why when we take someone from like UTSA's roster, do we not have to send cash to Tulane? And I said, or UTSA or like whatever. And I said, that's an interesting proposal. Just wrote it down. So I would love to do that. Like, you're not going to be able to make teams go back to a conference they don't want to go back to. But what I could do to try and shave and flatten out the financials a little bit is punitive measures when you go raid someone's roster or their coaching roster.
All right, I like it. Last one here, Commissioner Pate. Should the college football playoff selection process be fully transparent, and would forcing the committee to publicly justify rankings help or hurt the sport?
It would help in the same way. Now, I know you guys would never delve into politics. I don't even know if you're aware of what's happening right now, but we're confirming a lot of new people for cabinet positions. And there's a lot coming to light right now. Yeah. And everyone's up in arms about it. But I would argue more information is always a good thing. Now, you can choose whether to like or not like the information, but the process is always a good thing. And anyone who tells you otherwise has got a bag over their head. So I would love to make that a feature event. We get to voyeuristically watch the college football playoff rankings and selection process. Now, here's what it would do. It would make you lose all respect for the process because you'd find out those people aren't really making those numbers. No. They've got a preset mechanism and they're just the face of it, but they just turn the crank and that thing spits out its numbers. That's why it always very closely resembles what the BCS numbers would have been, because here's a very, very dangerous theory for you. They didn't really change it a whole lot.
No. they just put people there and said, hey, they're making these decisions when they're really...
Wait, so are you saying there should be a Doge college football edition?
I'm saying you're looking at him. Yes.
I love it. Well, look, if ever you're the commissioner, I'm going to apply for one of those cabinet positions. Maybe the Secretary of Defense. We can start changing some of these rules to start helping out the defense a little bit instead of it always be swaying toward the offense. Maybe something like that.
Whoa. Don't go changing stuff too much.
Look, you don't want to give me that power, but maybe Pate will. Josh, tell everybody where they can find it if they don't already know. And if they don't already know, they've got a bag over their head.
Well, yeah, just search Josh Pate's College Football Show. It should be everywhere you search for it. And if it doesn't, that's on me. That's on my staff. That's not on me. So you're off the hook at that point.
Perfect. Well, we already got the pardon, so we're good to go anyway. Josh, thanks.
Josh,
buddy. It's always great to
That's
see you.
awesome, man.
Have fun down there at the Broyles Award, my friend.
Travel safely.
See you guys.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? Appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't noticed, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're dropping new segments of our new show, Locker Room Talk. So make sure you're subscribed and keep up with that, as well as all the beautiful things here at Crain & Company Goes to College.